You're listening to Eat, Drink, Explore Media's Market Fresh, live every Thursday evening right here on Crush 92.5 FM. Now, broadcasting live from the heart of downtown San Luis Obispo, here's your host, Randall White.
And a very good Thursday evening, everyone, as we kick off another live edition of Market Fresh. Heard each week from 5 until 6 o'clock right here on Crush 92.5 FM in beautiful San Luis Obispo County, northern Santa Barbara County as well, possibly on the fringes of Monterey County, I assume, as well. I am your host, Randall White, and it is the 30th day of May, 2013, as we wind down the last full month of spring with very pleasant temperatures today. A warm-up expected over the next couple of days. Should get into the kind of push into the upper 80s here in San Luis Obispo. Inland areas, I imagine like Paso, will crest the 90-degree mark, if not more. We'll have a check of the Market Fresh forecast coming up a little later in the show. And every week, basically, I share my passion for local and sustainable foods. Oh, also a reminder, you can watch a video simulcast version of this radio show, radio with pictures, basically, online at our website on the Market Fresh page at eatdrinkexplore.com or by using our free smartphone or tablet apps. Our studio located right in the heart of downtown San Luis Obispo, directly above Higuera Street between Osos and Morro. We're at the Court Street shops. And if you're watching online right now, that's what you're seeing is a little look into the shops there. Salon Lux directly across from us. We're directly above Pete's Coffee if you happen to be down at the market. And we like being here because we can watch the market unfold before our eyes as the vendors get ready and the tourists come down and the students and the locals as well enjoy what has become one of the nation's best farmers markets ever. And it's an entertainment event as well. All right, just ahead in our Fresh News segment, we're talking about a problem that plagues local farmers and ranchers. It might surprise you if you're not associated with that industry, but they're paying a lot because metal is being stolen from their property. It's one of their top problems. Copper is being stolen from the irrigation lines and that sort of thing. So we will speak with someone from the California Farm Bureau coming up with about that in just a moment. And also ahead later on this show, this would be a really great weekend to start a vegetable garden. Get out there, and the fine people over at Cal Poly can help you do it with some of the best soil possible. We'll speak with the man in charge of the school's compost project and get details on this weekend's big sale. I gave him a call and said, hey, do you want to talk about compost on the show? He goes, this would be the perfect day to talk about it because we have an annual sale happening this coming Saturday. So it's just a serendipity. Good timing there. Also, we're going Greek for the second half of this show. No, we're not going Greek Cal Poly style. The local Greek festival is slated for this weekend in Mission Plaza. We'll be talking about traditional Greek foods and customs and even share a Mediterranean favorite dish with ingredients you can easily source right here on the Central Coast, considering we have so many vineyards and there are plenty of grape leaves to be had. You may know where we're going with that. And as always, we'll round out the show with a look at tonight's Higuera Street Market, including the entertainment lineup with our Market Fresh Cruise Director, Jen Young, who's in studio. Hey, Jen. Jen and I will talk about making homemade hummus as well, and the nutritional elements to that. And I have stopped buying hummus in the grocery store. I'll explain why a little later in the show. All right, we invite you to join us on Sunday mornings from 8 to 10, also here on Crush 92.5 FM for our weekly Eat, Drink, Explore signature broadcast. It's a lot like tonight's show, but includes a little travel and tourism with a statewide focus throughout California. Our goal each Sunday is to give you the tools you need to enjoy everything in a healthy, sustainable, and community-focused manner. All right, we will be back in just a moment with our Fresh News Report, great guests, and another fun night at the downtown San Luis Obispo Market.
It's Market Fresh on Crush 92.5 FM.
Can we have your attention for a moment? Eat, Drink, Explore Media has an important date we want to share with you. Saturday, July 13th. We invite you to join us at a craft beer and food event like no other. At last count, generous samples from more than 70 breweries will be paired with local culinary treats for the 2013 Breast Fest along San Francisco's waterfront at Fort Mason. Going on its 14th year, the annual Breast Fest has grown dramatically, raising money for an incredibly important cause, providing free, complimentary treatments for women battling breast cancer. The Charlotte Maxwell Clinic offers services such as acupuncture, massage, organic foods, and transportation. The clinic's core mission to provide relief from the terrible side effects of cancer and its treatments. Eat, Drink, Explore Media is very proud to be among the main sponsors for this year's event. For more information, go to thebreastfest.org. All right, welcome back to the program. It is time for the Fresh News Report here on Market Fresh. I am your host, Randall White. We should let you know before we get to the news that this hour of Eat, Drink, Explore Radio is brought to you by Eberly Winery in Paso Robles. Open daily from 10 in the morning until 6 o'clock in the evening with complimentary wine tasting and cave tours, and voted by Wine Spectator magazine as one of the best tours on the Central Coast. That's saying something in this fantastic wine country. Eberly, located on 46 East in Paso Robles. You can log on to eberlywinery.com for more information. All right, it is National Mint Julep Day, so look for some fresh mint at tonight's market and mix up a batch at home, perhaps. Also, tomorrow's National Macaroon Day. I don't know if you'll find any coconut at the market. Time for our weekly look at the California crop report, starting with veggies around the state. Sugar snap peas, lettuce, onions, garlic, squash, fava beans, and radishes are being harvested for local markets. Look for those tonight here in San Luis. As for fruit, blueberries and strawberries are being picked and packed. Apricots, cherries, peaches, and nectarines are being harvested. California pears could get an early start because of the recent warm weather, pushing up their arrival at markets by 2 to 3 weeks over the last couple of years. Look for pears in early July. Pomegranates, we're told, are in full bloom, with some fruit developing, and fruit already growing on apple trees. Grape leaves at some vineyards are being thinned to allow for more sunlight and airflow on the vines as the berries are beginning to size in some of the areas. And hey, maybe swing by one of your local vineyards that are doing the thinning and ask if you can have some of those grape leaves. They'll play nicely into our Greek recipe we have coming up in the next half hour. That is a little tip. Valencia orange harvest is still in effect. All right, there appears to be bipartisan support in Sacramento for a series of bills intended to deal with the theft of metals from farms and ranches in California, often taken from irrigation pumps, pipes, and other sources, and then sold to recyclers and junk dealers. According to an article in Ag Alert, local farmers and ranchers have spent hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to replace these stolen items. Joining us on the Market Fresh live line now to further explain the details of the situation is Noelle Kremers. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, Noelle. She's the Director of Natural Resources and Commodities at the California Farm Bureau Federation. Welcome to the program, Noelle.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And thank you for talking about this important topic.
I just didn't realize that it was such a big deal. I had heard about people stealing different sources of copper and such with the elevated price, but I had no idea it was affecting farmers and ranchers so much. What have you heard working there at the Federation?
Well, unfortunately, since our farmers and ranchers work outside and grow things outside, the equipment is a much easier target for thieves.
Uh-huh.
So thieves will come through and steal the wire out of irrigation pumps. They'll steal irrigation pipes, sprinklers. My husband had steel panels disassembled on his ranch and carried off. He showed up and just saw steel filings on the ground.
You're kidding.
No, so they take anything that they can then go to the recyclers and try and sell.
What seems to be the main metal they're after? Is it copper?
It seems to be copper, but it's really not limited to copper. They'll take stainless steel. You heard or saw in the Ag Alert article mention of scrap iron. They take anything that's not nailed down and that has some value to recyclers.
That's pretty incredible. So as I understand it, the farmers in the Central Valley and here on the Central Coast throughout the state, I imagine, are supporting a number of bills that are making their way through Sacramento to give some teeth to local law enforcement?
Yes, so we've been working on the issue of metal theft for a number of years. So these aren't the first bills that have gone through. We started back in 2007 and 2008 and got a very comprehensive bill passed, AB 844, that really increased the regulations and improved record-keeping requirements, required photographs to be taken of the metal, a thumbprint of the individual coming in to recycle, changed the payment method so you had to wait until you were paid 3 days. And unfortunately, while that's made improvements, people are still getting around that. So each year we've had more and more bills trying to crack down on it. One of the things that's come out is there are now illegal recyclers that just sort of pop up and they don't follow any of the environmental laws, and they just show up and they don't follow any of the record-keeping laws either, and then they'll disappear. So there's a bill that we're supporting that would require the ag commissioner and sealer, when they go out and certify the scales, to check and make sure that they have all of the necessary licenses. So we think that'll help to go after the illegal recyclers.
Oh, that's good. Go ahead, continue.
Farm Bureau is sponsoring a bill by Assemblymember Adam Gray from Merced, and what that bill would do is provide, when we get funding for it, it would provide additional resources to local law enforcement who create metal theft task forces to focus on metal theft. Because while we can pass more and more laws restricting activity, we need to make sure that law enforcement can enforce those laws. So we have to do both, provide new resources to law enforcement and make sure that the right laws are there for them to enforce.
Right. As we know, farmers are already on a very thin profit margin. And to add in these numbers that I'm looking at in this article in theft dollars is just, I guess these thieves just don't have any conscience, or they don't think about where their food comes from. That's for sure. According to the article, the Fresno County Sheriff's Department reported losses due to metal theft reached more than $1 million for the first quarter of this year. Just the first quarter, and just one county. Fresno, of course, a very ag-heavy county. Does it seem to be focused from your findings, Noelle, in the Central Valley, or is this a statewide problem?
It's a statewide problem. Obviously, there's a lot of farming in the Central Valley, so there's a lot of metal theft that happens in the valley, but it's definitely not limited to the valley.
Wow. Well, we appreciate it that you're on it and for sharing your knowledge with us. And I'll put a link to that Ag Alert article at the Market Fresh page on eatdrinkexplore.com. Noelle Kremers, Director of Natural Resources and Commodities at the California Farm Bureau Federation. Thanks for joining us today on Market Fresh.
Thank you for having me.
All right, stick around, everyone, because after the break, we're getting down and dirty, literally, with soil. We are headed to the Cal Poly Compost Project. It's their Center for Sustainability, and we'll tell you how you can get some hands on really top-notch soil for your vegetable garden as we wind down spring. You want to get those plants in now so that you can be enjoying some fresh homegrown produce in the months to come. I'm Randall White. You're listening to Market Fresh here on Crush 92.5 FM. We're back in just a moment.
It's Market Fresh on Crush 92.5 FM.
Randall White here, host of Eat, Drink, Explore Radio, with a tip for Central Coast wine tasting. Eberly Winery was recently voted Winery of the Year by the world's top sommeliers and has one of the best local tours according to Wine Spectator. Eberly Winery open daily 10 to 6, and the winery's cave tours and wine tasting always complimentary. It's easy to find, too. Located on Highway 46 East, just 3.5 miles from Highway 101. Now it's time to plan your visit. Just head to eberlywinery.com.
Seems everybody's going organic, including lawn care. Did you know communities across the country are converting their lawns, playgrounds, and playing fields to an organic care program? And it's working. You can safely control weeds and pests and have a beautiful lawn. Your kids, pets, and water supplies will be safer, and your neighbors will be green with envy. Oh, and in the long run, organic lawn care is cheaper than doing it the conventional way. Switch to organic lawn care today. Visit pesticidefreelawns.org. The folks who brought you this public service message. Check out pesticidefreelawns.org today.
Can we have your attention for a moment? Eat, Drink, Explore Media has an important date we want to share with you. Saturday, July 13th. We invite you to join us at a craft beer and food event like no other. At last count, generous samples from more than 70 breweries will be paired with local culinary treats for the 2013 Breast Fest along San Francisco's waterfront at Fort Mason. Going on its 14th year, the annual Breast Fest has grown dramatically, raising money for an incredibly important cause, providing free, complimentary treatments for women battling breast cancer. The Charlotte Maxwell Clinic offers services such as acupuncture, massage, organic foods, and transportation. The clinic's core mission to provide relief from the terrible side effects of cancer and its treatments. Eat, Drink, Explore Media is very proud to be among the main sponsors for this year's event. For more information, go to thebreastfest.org.
Market Fresh, broadcasting live from the heart of downtown San Luis Obispo. Here's your host, Randall White.
5:19 now the time on this Thursday evening. We're just 40 minutes away from the kickoff of another downtown San Luis Obispo Thursday night farmers market full of entertainment and fun, families, you name it, all down here. And then, of course, the great produce that's sold as well. So I am your host, Randall White, and let's see. Last year, well, like 2 or 3 years ago, I bought this giant compost maker bin, I guess you would call it, at Costco. And I started throwing all of our food scraps in there, and I made up a really nice batch of compost, and that went into the soil at home a year ago. And, a year ago. And we had some of the best tomatoes and basil growing in our backyard. It was really amazing. This year, we kind of got lazy with the compost machine. And the tomatoes they're not going anywhere. And I'm bummed out about that, and I don't want to dump a bunch of chemicals on top of those plants. But then I heard about this program that they have out at Cal Poly through the Center for Sustainability. They have a compost project out there. And so I thought, well, I'm going to give them a ring. And I did today. And as it turns out, there's a big event coming this Saturday, so the timing was perfect. Steve Sherman is the farm operations technician at the Center for Sustainability, I believe. And he joins us on the line right now. Hey, Steve.
How you doing?
Good, thank you. Did I have all that information correct?
I think so.
Okay, good.
Correct me.
Well, Steve, you've been in charge of this compost project out there. How did the whole thing get started?
Well, it started with Dr. Doug Williams. He was a Bray professor, Ag Engineering Department, and he started it about 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. And anyway, he got a little bit busy, so they asked me to take it over, and I really enjoy recycling things. So that's how it got started.
Where does the organic material come from to build up this compost? Is it from what the kids are eating on campus, or is it a byproduct of all the farm operations?
Well, it's not really, I don't want to call it a byproduct. It's a resource. And what it is the compost is manure-based compost. So all our animal units, the horse unit, the dairy, the beef unit, and the poultry unit, we get manure from there. And then we add green waste, which comes off of campus. And I think we're recycling probably about 80 to 90% of the tree trimmings and green waste that comes off the campus core.
Wow.
So,
Is that mix good for growing vegetables or just about anything?
Yes, it is. It's and I want to stress that compost is really it's not a fertilizer. It's a soil builder is what it is, mm-hmm. And it helps plants take up nutrients, and that's what it is. It's a humus-like material. And the material the compost that we produce at Cal Poly is really top quality stuff. It's really, really, really good compost.
So it's a soil builder that helps break up like the thick clay that we have here. Is that what it is?
Well, it'll do two things. It'll help break or not break up the clay, but it keeps the clay particles apart. Mm-hmm. So, which allows the plant to take up nutrients, and it also in sandy soil, it will allow sandy soils to hold water.
Oh, okay.
So it's good in both types of soil.
Right. So, help me out a little bit, Steve. I got lax on my compost building at home, and because I started reading things online, and it started to get complicated to me that you need a certain amount of brown material and a certain amount of green material, and the moisture content has to be just right, and oxygen has to keep getting to the center of it, and it needs to get above a certain temperature. And I started reading all this stuff, and I was like, well, I didn't know this was going to be that complicated. I thought I'd just throw everything in this bin and turn it a few times, and out comes the compost. So for some basic compost 101, what sort of mix of materials do you want for people that aren't, clearly on a campus the size of Cal Poly and are just throwing stuff in from their kitchen? You do need to keep a certain balance, right?
Right. You want to. It's called the carbon nitrogen ratio. Is what it's called, and an ideal ratio is about 30-1, and if people know what horse manure looks like, that is almost a perfect carbon nitrogen ratio.
Oh, really?
And yes. And so the bacteria, the natural bacteria that's in the manure and in everything, actually eats the carbon.
Okay.
And the nitrogen is, it's something that's necessary for the bacteria to build their cells with and to live off of. So the carbon is the food, and nitrogen is like the vitamins for bacteria.
And the 30 to 1 that you want, it's 30 carbon, 1 nitrogen?
Yes.
Okay.
30 to 1, yes.
And so like what would be your basic like let's say you have lettuce that goes bad in the refrigerator, and then you've got some bread maybe that got moldy and stuff like that, and you throw that in there. What would that combination be?
Well, that would probably be garbage.
Oh.
So, what you want to do is you need to have some carbon, so that you can get carbon from leaves, from dry grass clippings, things like that, and then you can add your food scraps into your compost maker or machine.
Okay.
So that's what you want. So, and then like green grass, it has a lighter nitrogen in it, so that's your nitrogen source.
I see. I need more along the way of like leaves and pine needles.
Dry leaves. You can even use sawdust. Shavings, things like that.
Oh, sawdust.
That has carbon in it.
Oh, that would be a good one.
And then you want to make sure that it's moist, and 60% moisture is about the right percentage, or the perfect percentage.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I've always told folks that there's two things. There's the squeeze test. So if you squeeze your raw material or your feedstock, and if it holds together, that's about 60% moisture. Or your kitchen sponge, if you fill it full of water and then you squeeze that out and you fill the moisture on the sponge, that's about 60%.
Oh, okay. That's a good rule of thumb. All right, in the time that we have left here, let's talk about Saturday's event.
Okay, we're having a compost sale, and it'll be from 8 until 12. And bring your trailer or your pickup truck or buckets, and we sell pickup loads for $30 per cubic yard. So a cubic yard would be 3 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot. And then buckets of compost, we'll sell you a bucket for $5. Bring your bucket, though.
And that's a lot less than what you would pay at one of your major home improvement stores.
and come in on Highland Drive and follow the signs.
Okay, come in Highland Drive and follow the signs. Highland is the one that's right off of Santa Rosa at the top of the hill?
Yes, it is.
Okay, that's how I used to commute into school in the Wayback Machine in the late 80s when I lived on North Truro. All right, exactly. Steve Sherman, Farm Operations Technician there at Cal Poly. The big compost sale is this Saturday. Steve, thanks for joining us and explaining a bit about compost.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Hey, stick around, everyone. We're going Greek right after this. In our next half hour, we're talking about San Luis Obispo's big Greek festival. You're listening to Market Fresh on this Thursday, broadcasting live from the San Luis Obispo downtown Thursday night market. The street will be shut off any moment. Let me turn around here and see. Yeah, they're in the process of putting the barricades out right now. A lot of the food vendors are already setting up shop. You can smell it. The market is in the air and on the air here at Crush 92.5.
It's Market Fresh on Crush 92.5 FM.
California business owners, entrepreneurs, farmers, authors, and other professionals, this message is for you. We're looking to highlight those of you who give back to the community, care about the environment, and have the health of our state as part of your business model or focus. Our new California Love website is in the beta testing phase. So, during the next few months, we're offering free listings to qualified people or business entities. It's a win-win situation. You help populate our site with quality, locally owned California companies, and we help direct customers to your business or product. Simply head over to CALUV.com. That's CA as in California, LUV as in a cute way to spell love.com, and enter the information for your business today. Why wouldn't you? It's easy and it's free. CALUV.com. The California Love Business Recommendation Tool.
seems everybody's going organic, including lawn care. Did you know communities across the country are converting their lawns, playgrounds, and playing fields to an organic care program? And it's working. You can safely control weeds and pests and have a beautiful lawn. Your kids, pets, and water supplies will be safer, and your neighbors will be green with envy. Oh, and in the long run, organic lawn care is cheaper than doing it the conventional way. Switch to organic lawn care today. Visit pesticidefreelawns.org. The folks who brought you this public service message. Check out pesticidefreelawns.org today.
At the American Lung Association, we're fighting for a day when we can all breathe easier. We're fighting for clear skies over every city and healthy lungs throughout the country. We're fighting to free millions of Americans from the addictive grip of tobacco and the devastating effects of lung disease. The American Lung Association isn't just fighting for air, we're fighting for all the things that make it worth breathing, and we can use your help. See what you can do at fightingforair.org.
Market Fresh, broadcasting live from the heart of downtown San Luis Obispo. Here's your host, Randall White.
And the time right now is 5:33. It's the second half hour of Market Fresh. This is my favorite half hour because now the Higuera Street corridor is sealed off and the market's really starting to come to life. Nothing is being sold yet, though. The vendors need to hold off until 6 o'clock for the prepared food, and then 6:10 is when they ring the bell and the market officially opens to the produce suppliers. So lots of fun to be had tonight. And of course, in our final segment, that's when we speak with our cruise director, who will tell us all about the entertainment that's at tonight's market. And we'll be talking about hummus as well. So you'll want to hear a little insight into hummus. And you know, I'll have to ask our guest coming up here in just a moment the origins of hummus. You may or may not know, but we're talking Greek. We are going Greek for this next segment here. No togas involved at this point yet. It's early in the show, but the big SLO Greek Festival takes place at Mission Plaza. I mean, really, it's like one of the best places ever to hold a festival, and it is the F word that we like, free, F-R-E-E. And so joining us right now to talk a little bit about it is Jim Jarakaris, and you may know Jim from Justin Winery as well, but today we have him on the show to talk about the upcoming Greek Festival. Hey, Jim.
How you doing, Randall?
Good. Nice to have you here. And I got a note from your wife months ago regarding the festival, and had put it kind of on the shelf. Forgot about it till this morning. But and then I was like, oh, that's right. We're gonna going to be talking about all things Greek. And so is there a large Greek community on the Central Coast?
Well, I wouldn't call it large, but the only Greek Orthodox church between Santa Barbara and Salinas is in San Luis Obispo.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, we've got probably about 50 or 60 families, and I'd say about half of them are Greek. So we draw from a different variety of traditions or nationalities that are Orthodox. It's the same religion.
And then, like most festivals, the purpose of this one is to introduce people to the culture and share some of the things that are special.
Absolutely. I mean, we've got such great food and traditions, and people love to dance, and they love to eat, of course, too.
Yeah,
so.
Sort of the cradle of modern society, the Greeks. And so I was mentioning hummus, which I made hummus for the first time ever this week.
No, it's really not that hard.
It's not that hard.
No.
I didn't realize how simple it is, and I'm never buying it in the store again. I just enjoyed it so much. Its origins are in the Mediterranean area.
Mediterranean, Middle East. Basically, it's just chickpeas that are ground up, and you can put some olive oil and garlic in there. And all. Actually, it kind of really shows out the Mediterranean diet and its roots being more in vegetables and things like that. So, and the Greek diet is very much that way.
Very much so. It's a very healthy diet. And I was speaking with you on the phone today, and since you're at a winery and the grapevines are all leafing out, I said, hey, let's talk a little bit about that Greek specialty that's the rolled up Greek leaves, but I didn't know the name of it.
Dolmades.
Dolmades.
Yeah. The abbreviated version, which is actually the singular form, is dolma.
Oh, dolma.
Yeah, it's actually a Middle Eastern word.
Dolma is the plural, did you say?
No. That's the singular.
Oh, okay.
So in Greek, dolmades would be the plural, and dolmavakia are little ones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's all the same thing.
Right. And so so it looks like a little tiny burrito.
Yeah, exactly. That's how you roll them up too. Yeah,
exactly. Oh, same sort of
same
method.
thing. You tuck in the ends and make it nice and tight and fold it up.
What do you have to do to the grape leaves to get them in? They look like they've almost been fermented or something.
Yeah, well, if you buy them from a jar, you're going to need to soak them and get the salt out of them, basically.
Okay.
But if you have availability to fresh grape leaves, this is like the prime time because they're young and tender, and they're at a good size as well, too. So what you want to do is blanch them. You want to just put them in some hot water, just a little bit below boiling, basically, just for about a minute or so to soften them up a little bit, and it kind of makes them easier to work with as well, too.
And maybe sprinkle a little salt on them?
Not a bad idea.
Yeah.
It kind of adds, salt does everything to flavor, yeah.
Right, and if you're using like a good Mediterranean Sea blend or something, there's been some studies out recently that show maybe that kind of salt isn't so bad for you after all. So then now what goes into this grape leaf burrito?
Well, it's actually, if you ask 5 different Greeks, they'll give you 5 different recipes. So it really depends on the family and what's available and all of that. But essentially, there's a vegetarian version and there's a meat version. We'll have the meat version, basically, and we're using ground beef. But a lot of times they use ground lamb or a combination of the two of them.
Yeah.
But basically, all you're doing is taking, an onion or two, sautéing it in a pan, and then, you're going to put the meat in there. And add some rice. This is without cooking it necessarily.
Yeah.
You kind of make a raw mixture. And then what you do is you can add dill or you can add parsley in there. It depends on what herbs the family likes. And you put a little ball of that inside the grape leaf and you roll it up. And that's where things get a little bit more traditional. You put them in a pot with a plate on the bottom of them to keep them from scorching.
Okay.
You pile them up real tight. And you want to make sure they're really compressed. You put a plate on the top and you put a weight on top. And then you cover that so it's tight. Okay, and then what you do, before you cover it, you're going to want to put chicken or beef broth to cover everything up.
Okay.
And basically the rice in the meat cooks as it's in there, just simmering.
Oh, okay.
You can put it in a crock pot. You probably might have to turn it up above simmer in a crock pot, but you can do that in a pot as well, too.
Right.
In fact, my mom had a special pot and a special plate. And
just for it.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, clearly, with all the fresh produce and such that we have available at markets every day of the week in San Luis Obispo County, you could, like you said, stuff these things with just about anything you like. Are there specific Greek seasonings, regardless of what you put in it, for the bulk? Are there specific seasonings? Like I just made a dish the other day and I used turmeric. Are there certain is that Greek? Like, I'm never sure what would be a Greek flavor.
Depending on the dish. With a dolma, chances are it's just going to be mint, maybe some dill, or maybe some parsley.
Okay.
Okay, but when you get into dishes like we've got spanakopita, which we're going to be having at the festival, or tiropitas. These are all, they sound really unusual and exotic, but basically spanaki is spinach, and so pita is a pie. So they're little spinach pies. Tiropitas, tiri is cheese. Okay, and pita, so it's a cheese pie.
Okay.
They have unpronounceable in the English language, but kolokithopita, which would be pumpkin. If you had some pumpkin around, you could kind of soften it up by cooking it and add some spices like cinnamon and stuff like that. We use a lot of the Middle Eastern spices, cinnamons, clove, although clove wouldn't be an application for that, but a little bit of cinnamon goes a long way in there.
We have a very Greek-like climate here, do we not?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. In fact, it looks a lot like where my family comes from in Crete, except instead of olive trees everywhere, there's oak trees everywhere.
Oh, right. And boy, olive sure is taking off here.
Oh, absolutely.
In a
And
big
it's a perfect thing. In fact, that's one thing that I always want to say is that if you're cooking Greek food, when we talk about sautéing and stuff, don't use like plain old canola or anything. There's no excuse. We've got great olive oil here, and it's more flavorful, and it actually heats up to a little bit of a higher temperature before it starts smoking as well too. So
you can be very, very Greek-like and still be a locavore here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the whole Mediterranean diet. I mean, everything that everybody's picked up on as far as local and fresh and healthy eating and everything is all based on this traditional diet that actually came from Crete. I can give a little plug to the home island.
Yeah,
here,
why not?
But that's where the researchers found that people were healthy even after the war, and they didn't have plentiful anything to eat, and they were going to the hills and kind of eating off the land.
They started studying them because of the life expectancy, right? They said, what is going on here?
Well, what happened is they went to all these different areas after the war, and they found that people in other areas were kind of starving and stuff, and then they went to this one place, and everybody was like more healthy than they were.
Right. And so now, in addition to the food, I would imagine there will be some Greek dancing and other cultural sorts of things?
Yeah. The dancing, in fact, we'll have dancing lessons, and then we'll also have demonstrations. We even have the little kids from the community that are going to be dancing, and it's a nice opportunity to come out and kind of learn something new and have some fun and maybe burn off a couple of the calories that you're going to take on as well. We're going to have some wonderful pastries as well too. So traditionally, these are all handmade by our community, they're as good as you're going to get. You just can't get store-bought like that.
Right. Yeah. I guess we didn't make it to dessert. What's the pastry that's really flaky and delicious, and you always seem to get it at dessert at Greek restaurants?
Well, it depends. I mean, that defines probably about 5 different things. There's something called diples, which are kind of rolled up fritters, basically, and then they're deep fried. But then there's another one that's got kind of like a custard in the middle of it, and that's called galaktobouriko, which is gala is milk, and burek is kind of a Middle Eastern word for things that you put between pita.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so you were saying that pita just means a pie.
It's a pie, but when you look at it as a whole, if you take something and put it between layers of phyllo dough, it becomes a pie.
Okay.
Some people do it with dough too.
And so is that the same root for the word like pita bread?
Yes. Oh, yep. That's
because it's flat and
you got it.
And like that, like a pie.
Yeah.
But then you're just like stuffing it full of things.
Yep.
Pita sure has taken off too with the whole Mediterranean diet.
It's so handy too. I mean, it's the type of talk about food that you can handle and kind of eat very conveniently.
And it's all put on through the church?
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, it's one of our main fundraisers, and it really helps us out. And we appreciate everybody coming and showing up, and we can share our culture and benefit from it at the same time.
I love that it's no charge, and then you can just eat what you like, and that sort of thing. And
yeah, the food is a la carte. We don't have like package, anything, so you can kind of order a little bit here and there. And we've got a menu, and all you do is kind of point at the food you want, and if you want an explanation, the people behind there can kind of talk to you a little bit about and see what you like, and try something new. You should be adventurous with this.
I love it. And what were the hours?
Let's see. We're doing 11 to 7 on Saturday and 11 to 4, I believe it is, on Sunday.
Okay, 11 to 7 Saturday. That's the big long day, and then a shortened version for Sunday, which is pretty typical for most festivals. So people can get more information at GreekFestivalSLO.com.
Yes,
it's a .com.
I
think I think it is. I think I double checked on it. Yeah, it is. So
sorry about that.
That's okay. So it is GreekFestivalSLO.com. Jim Jarakaris joining us today to talk about it and the Greek specialties. I'm going to try some of those grape leaf dolma.
Dolmades.
Dolmades. I only wrote down part of the word for some reason. What, did my pen run out of ink?
Dolma is the singular. Remember?
Yeah, there we go. Dolma. I'm going to make a dolma. That's it.
There you
Just
go.
teasing. Jim, thank you so much for joining
You're
us
very
today
welcome. Nice
here
to
on
meet
Market
you, Randall.
Fresh.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, everyone, we've got the Market Fresh report coming up with our cruise director, Jen Young, from the Lido deck. Back in just a moment.
It's Market Fresh on Crush 92.5 FM.
Randall White here, host of Eat, Drink, Explore Radio, with a tip for Central Coast wine tasting. Eberly Winery was recently voted Winery of the Year by the world's top sommeliers and has one of the best local tours according to Wine Spectator. Eberly Winery open daily 10 to 6, and the winery's cave tours and wine tasting always complimentary. It's easy to find, too. Located on Highway 46 East, just 3.5 miles from Highway 101. Now it's time to plan your visit. Just head to eberlywinery.com.
Seems everybody's going organic, including lawn care. Did you know communities across the country are converting their lawns, playgrounds, and playing fields to an organic care program? And it's working. You can safely control weeds and pests and have a beautiful lawn. Your kids, pets, and water supplies will be safer, and your neighbors will be green with envy. Oh, and in the long run, organic lawn care is cheaper than doing it the conventional way. Switch to organic lawn care today. Visit pesticidefreelawns.org. The folks who brought you this public service message. Check out pesticidefreelawns.org today.
Can we have your attention for a moment? Eat, Drink, Explore Media has an important date we want to share with you. Saturday, July 13th. We invite you to join us at a craft beer and food event like no other. At last count, generous samples from more than 70 breweries will be paired with local culinary treats for the 2013 Breast Fest along San Francisco's waterfront at Fort Mason. Going on its 14th year, the annual Breast Fest has grown dramatically, raising money for an incredibly important cause, providing free, complimentary treatments for women battling breast cancer. The Charlotte Maxwell Clinic offers services such as acupuncture, massage, organic foods, and transportation. The clinic's core mission to provide relief from the terrible side effects of cancer and its treatments. Eat, Drink, Explore Media is very proud to be among the main sponsors for this year's event. For more information, go to thebreastfest.org.
Market Fresh, broadcasting live from the heart of downtown San Luis Obispo. Here's your host, Randall White.
5:49. Boy, that Greek festival sounds fun, and I haven't really eaten since breakfast today, so all of the talk of food is making me so hungry. By the way, the dessert I was thinking of is baklava, And so Jim already left, so I didn't get a chance to ask him, but I looked it up online. And it's basically anywhere the Ottoman Empire was, all throughout that whole Middle Eastern region and into the Mediterranean. In Greece, I find this interesting. It's supposed to be made with 33 phyllo dough layers to represent the number of years in Christ's life. So that is like official baklava, apparently, in Greece. At any rate, still talking food at the farmer's market and entertainment is our entertainment coordinator, our cruise director on the Lido deck, Jen Young. Hey, Jen. Oh, tonight should be fun at the market, huh?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I don't think we ever stop talking about food.
No, not if we can help it.
Now, tonight we have a lot going on, and it's somebody's birthday today, but I'm going to tell you about that in a second. Now, on Napomo Street, Drum Circuit, a local drum shop, is going to be out playing some music, giving some free lessons. It's a great place to take the kids and let them drum out their energy so they'll sleep tonight. I always like to give those tips.
Right.
I feel like those are helpful.
Hey, wait, Jen, before you get to the next entertainment thing,
Yeah.
what were you dancing to during the commercial break? Is it our music that we play?
Yes, I was dancing to our music because I love it.
Anthony and I, our audio guy, we were laughing in here. We're like, what is she dancing to? Okay.
I mean, there might be music in my head, too.
Right.
But
Continue.
Speaking of entertainment, on Broad Street, Performance Athletics is going to be out there demonstrating their skills. Now, they're a professional gymnastics facility here in SLO, and their facility is for all ages. Their goal is to join fun and fitness. So you can channel your inner Gabby Douglas, your inner gymnast, because they have classes for all ages and all skill levels. So if you haven't done it in 20 years, you can go check it out. And it's never too late. I was looking at their website, and they have classes from preschool, 1 year old, to adults.
Ooh.
So it's for everybody.
Yeah.
So go ahead and check them out. Now, on Garden Street, Cuesta Ridge is going to be performing, and they're an all-acoustic 5-piece band. They have a bluegrass rock type of sound, and they're from the Central Coast. And they write their own music, but they also like to do covers and kind of jam every time they get together and create something new. So that'll be something fun to check out. Now, on Choro Street, I talked about a birthday. Well, it is Downtown Brown's 16th birthday, Sweet 16. Now, if you don't know who Downtown Brown is, I'm sure when you've come to Farmer's Market, you see a bear, a furry bear around, and that's who Downtown Brown is. And it's his birthday tonight, and he's pretty much the mascot of Downtown SLO.
I wonder how they came up with the bear, Downtown Brown, the bear. Maybe they just had a bear costume, and so they're like, well...
I
Oh,
don't
maybe
know.
the bear
I can
in
do
the
some
mission.
research on that.
Yeah, you know, there's that bear next to the fountain that kind of keeps or it is part of the fountain. It makes the water spray with its hand. Good point, Anthony. Anthony pointed that out. Yeah. All right. So Downtown Brown turned 16. Stay off the roads.
I know, he can drive now. But there will be games and stuff for kids to do, and take your kids and give them a birthday hug, give them a birthday high five. Down there on Charles Street. And there also is going to be snacks provided by Madonna Inn and Sugar Daddies. So check that out because it'll be delicious. Mm-hmm. And lastly, on Morrow Street, they're going to have what's called Market at Morrow. And Randall, you and I were talking about this earlier. I believe they started it last year, but tonight's the first night they're doing it for the summer. So what they're doing is it's going to be an expanded produce section from what's normally on Higuera Street. And there's going to be some new vendors, and it's going to be going on from now until September. So go ahead and check them out.
Yeah, that's terrific.
Great produce.
It's actually what I want to do to the downtown on a couple of different streets. I want to kind of close them off and make them pedestrian only. That's just on the side streets. I think that would be really cool. Or
that sounds like a great idea.
Or the stretch of Monterey from Santa Rosa to the Mission Plaza, I think would make a great pedestrian mall.
That is a great idea.
Yeah, I think so.
You should pitch to someone.
So this little stretch of Morrow, I think that's important that they do it in the summertime because I talk to a lot of vendors who tell me, I'll say, oh, are you at the Thursday night market? And they'll say, no, they haven't accepted us. We applied years ago, and there's only so many vendors that can be along this stretch. And because it's such a popular market, many of the vendors want to be there. So I'm glad.
Exactly.
I'm really glad that they have this ability during the summer months to open it up to even more, to make it this just enormous market that's just not one long straight street, but branches off. That's amazing.
Exactly. And it's a great way to check out new vendors and new businesses that are around here.
Yeah. Is that it for the entertainment?
Yes, that's all the entertainment we have.
All right.
Now
so,
I was going to go back to the Greek stuff.
Yeah. Well, well, Jen, one of the vendors that's at the market is Baba Foods, and they sell locally made hummus. I read an article the other day. It's one of those times I wish I almost hadn't read it, but because one of my favorite brands of hummus that I buy at Costco is Sabra. They have an artichoke version that I like a lot.
Okay.
Turns out they're made by Pepsi, and
no.
and then one of the other big brands, Athenos, is made by, I believe it's Kraft. And so so these here, I try not to buy from the big producers. I try to keep it as local as possible, and I'm definitely against the ones who gave millions of dollars to defeat Prop 37, the GMO labeling bill. So both Pepsi and Kraft were in that camp. So now I'm only buying local with the Baba Foods. Unfortunately, they were supposed to join us today, but they couldn't at the last minute. So as I was mentioning to you, Jen, off air, I made my own hummus this week.
That sounds delicious, and I hope you brought some to share.
Well, I didn't. It's just as easy to make, though, as our previous guest for the Greek the Greek Festival in San Luis Obispo. I almost called it a film festival for some reason. It's really easy. It's just your garbanzo beans, and I made them at home in the pressure cooker. It's fresh lemon juice, which we have plenty of fresh lemons here on the Central Coast.
Definitely.
Garlic. Fresh, of course, fresh chopped garlic. And then there's two different camps. There's a camp that will put tahini in it, which is a sesame seed paste. And then there's others who say, no, you're not supposed to put the tahini in it. I like it with it in it.
Depends on your taste buds.
I
guess.
And then I just threw in some some salt and pepper and a couple of Mediterranean spices, including turmeric. And Anthony, our audio guy, said it's the best hummus he's ever had. And he's eaten a lot of hummus.
I wish I could have tried it.
Yeah? Well, no, I'll be making a lot more. I'll bring it in next week for sure.
Sounds good.
With some little pita chips. So, hey, Jen, thank you. We'll let you go now.
Thanks, Randall.
All right, everyone. Here's the a quick check of the market report, the weather report. 71 at kickoff. It's breezy out there, though, a little on the cool side for 71. And then when the market wraps up at 9 o'clock, 60 degrees. Warmer tomorrow here on the Central Coast, that's for sure. All right. That does it for this edition of Market Fresh here on Crush 92.5. I'm your host, Randall White. Join us back here next week as well.
It's Market Fresh on Crush 92.5 FM.